Okay, so I've been putting this off. I say all night, but I've been putting it off for. I'm getting back in this. Well, I was about to get back in this rut again of fiddling around for hours and procrastinating and putting it off, and then just going to sleep and feeling so frustrated with myself. Because the thing is, like a lot of some of the best videos that I've done have been the ones that are just kind of like, let me see how this is, because it is very late. It's late at night, and I always blame not being able to be productive on all the distractions, and here it is, like not a distraction, like no distractions, and I'm the distraction, and it's, but I said I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. I hope, my hope is that I just start talking and I never stop until I say all the things that I need to say, as far as like there's just so much of my life I feel like I need to speak on, even if it's just to this camera and it never goes any further than that. I feel like there's so much that weighs on me all the time, and the reasons that I feel like it's important to say, not say, but like tell the stories, and like there's so many different reasons. Like it's all the time, it's like, for one thing, I think I have deprived myself of, reflecting on the past in a lot of ways for a lot of reasons. And also I think that I've done it, out of habit, because it was done to me for so long. I was conditioned for so many years to think that I talk too much, and, and that was a bad thing, and then, it was just like it was so much, there was so much like devaluing and, just like, not brainwashing, but just like manipulation and stuff, is like, and I'm guilty of it too, like for the longest time, or I say for the longest time, I still have not spoke about so much of my life, because I go back and forth. Like I try not to be judgmental. Like everybody says I'm not judgmental, but like I really try not to be, and I try not to be like overly critical of people. But I think it comes from a place, I think in this particular instance at least, it's coming from a place of like being wounded, or like being like defensive, in the fact that it's so hard to struggle and go through things, and a lot of it being done at the hands of other people, and then to watch other people, either the ones that have treated you so horribly, or just people not even involved, but like just to see people play the victims. I say that in quotation marks, like quote unquote the victim, or just go through things that, and I know that everything's relative. I understand that, to someone, like something that could be seemingly way like could be totally minor compared to something else, it's all relative to that person and what they've experienced and how they process it, and how it affects them and everything. So like in like a logical, rational, like in this state of mind, I'm like, oh, absolutely, like trauma, if it's not one size fit all, but like in the moment when you're the one that was hurt, it's hard to watch other people either minimize that, discredit it, turn around and play and say that they were the ones, like point the finger at you, or just other people in general, and it's, I do think that, well, up until very recently, I've been so proud of myself for being strong enough in healing to the point where it doesn't bother me to see other people do that. But I think part of that may be that I have shut part of myself, like I've closed myself off to the possibility that I need that, and I probably don't need that, but like it's not wrong for somebody to have, it's not wrong to have validation. It's not wrong to be comforted. It's not wrong to not be alone, you know? So it's like, it's just a mind fuck. Like, it really is. Cause, you know, even now, like, even the times that I've even like spoke about things that have happened in my past, first of all, like, the fact that I've gotten a response from someone that was like in the like general, like in the ballpark of like, I guess, sympathy or like understanding or compassion or like anything like that. First of all, that should be a testament to me that maybe it was possible before and I didn't want to for whatever reason. Maybe it was important to me to, anyway. So there was that, but then also the fact that, you know, as I'm speaking on these things that I have very much have the right to speak on, you know, parts of my life that were very, like, major parts of my life and things that were very, you know, traumatic and that I've spent a lot of time healing from, you know, that I have every right to speak upon, you know, especially that I never have. And to still feel like it was manipulation, you know, to get a response out of someone that was like anything besides boo fucking, I'm not gonna say boo hoo, you know, to get a response that was like, oh my God, like, you're a human being. Like, I'm a human being too. I acknowledge that. Even that in itself, it felt like manipulation to me. It felt like, oh, I've got him now, you know, and so while I'm just on it, I'll just go ahead and say the him is my boyfriend that I've been with for 4 years, which is crazy that I'm like, you know, just now open to the possibility of like sharing these things with him. Now, used to, and I'm not saying this is right. I know it's not right, but this was like my mindset up until very recently. You know, it was like this kind of like don't ask, don't tell policy as far as everything that I've been through. And when I say my past, like, I'm an open book. It's just, it's not a book that you're going to have to read unless you open, you know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you anything you want to know. And it's, when I say my past, I mean like the stuff that, the hurt that I endured, you know, the things that I went through. I don't need to talk about that. You know, I made it very clear in the beginning that, like, these are the things that I'm not okay with. And as long as those things never happen, then I don't need to fix you. I don't need to change you. I don't need to, you know, any of those things. Now, I do think that I have, you know, I would consider myself as someone who has a decent amount, you know, to be like, yeah, a decent amount of knowledge and experience when it comes to, you know, our brains and how we process emotions and trauma and just human behavior in general, and really from the spirit, not even spiritual, like from God's, from the spiritual side of it. I think that I'm someone that would be kind of qualified to offer assistance to someone should they, you know, ask for it. But I'm in no means, like, in no way am I like needing that, you know, but so that's just kind of how it was. Well, then it got to a point where, you know, when I saw myself as, I guess I saw that I was being viewed by other people as the strong person that I guess I either believed I was or actually was or am. But I saw that, okay, so when I was not that strong, I guess, or like in the past, I was treated pretty badly a lot of the time. And so now it's like, if I have this, like, if I appear strong and like, you know, like it really opens you up for more of that type of treatment, I guess. I'm not really doing a great job of articulating it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, the way that I would almost like threaten him, and this is not okay. I know it's not okay. I'm just saying, like, this is, it's like painting a picture of the last 4 years, well, almost, like the past almost 4 years of our relationship have been like, if you don't stop looking at me like I'm this bulletproof, like if you don't start acknowledging that like I have feelings, and even though they're pretty rock solid, like they can get hurt, and I do have, like some basic needs as far as like emotional needs and stuff, I'm gonna start telling you stories. Like I'm gonna start telling you things from the past that I know for a fact most people can't even handle hearing. Which really brings me to the point of this entire deal. The point of me feeling like I have a responsibility to share these stories is because they were not, this is not something that I brought on myself. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point. I did not bring these things on myself. And I believed that I did. I had awful, awful things done to me. A lot. And I wish I felt so alone and isolated and just totally disconnected from the world for so long that the thought of being the only person on earth that has ever experienced anything even remotely similar to this, the thought of that is okay with me because that's how I felt anyway. So to think that this is something that happens all the time, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with thinking that maybe there are people that aren't as strong as me that have been through things that I've been through, and wondering like, how do they, what are they doing now? How do they cope? And what do we do? Like, is there even anything, and this has been the question that I've asked myself for so long now, is there anything that even can be done as far as putting an end to all this? Because I have racked my brain and I have looked at this from every possible angle. I have done so much forgiving, so much understanding, so much, seeking out knowledge and getting people's perspectives. And I have looked at things from so many, I cannot even express to you how much of my time has been devoted in a healthy way. Really, like I only began to like even pursue these things when I knew that I was at a place where I was okay to. Okay, and I need for you to know too that like I came out of this like guns a-blazing. Like once the dust cleared and I had a feeling like maybe I was away from the situation enough that I could start basically knocking heads off, when you know that things were done to you that were not okay. And this is coming from somebody who has had a whole life of things done to me that weren't okay. Coming from someone who has owned full responsibility of my part in everything as well. And still, there's no way. I would never in a million years, I could never in good conscience tell someone you deserve that or you brought that on yourself. Because there's times when, things that like, I've walked out of the house to go to the store before and was wearing shorts and it was the hottest, it was in the middle of summer, and went back inside to put pants on because I was in a part of town that, I doubt anything would happen, but like, why chance that? Like, why wear something that couldn't, the point being like, if something happened and I were to get abducted or raped or like human trafficked, like that would not be, I would not have deserved that, but my part in it, and that's a bad example, but you see what I'm saying is that I've taken my responsibility. I've held myself accountable for the things in my life that have happened that would not have happened had I been living my life right. And again, like I could go into so much, I could go in depth than all this, like because I've racked my brain like in every way. But again, like, I testified in a grand jury trial, against my, at the time, husband, who was on trial for solicitation for murder. Solicitation for murder with me as the alleged target. And the crazy thing is, like, the charge that really was going to bring him, like, really, that was the thing that was really threatening him the most, or how do I say this? Like, the thing that could have really brought him down was not even the attempted murder, like, it was like a capital crime type deal, but it was the violation of the protective order that really held the biggest, like, I guess, sentence, or the bond, like all these things that were like associated with, like, it actually was not, like, murder is not that big of a deal, come to find out. And I'm not saying that joking. Like, I was actually astonished to see the kind of, like, typically what the bail is, or like what the bail would be for, like, first degree murder, second degree murder, like attempted murder, solicitation for murder, things like that. Not much at all. I mean, and I'm saying that, like, honestly, I want to say, for some reason, like, the number 5,000 is stuck. It like pops in my head, and I don't know if that was his percentage of it, what it would have been, or the actual amount. But the point being, it really was not as crazy as you would think it would be. Now, in I guess, like, in Livingston Parish history, there have not been many, I think actually there had only been one other case or, situation similar to this. So it definitely got the attention of a lot of people, like, when I went to, because they asked me also before I had to testify at the grand jury trial, I had to testify at just the bond here, the bail hearing, like just the initial deal or whatever. And that was fun. And it was, so they do, like, they start with misdemeanors, and then they go, they work their way back to, like, the big stuff, which of course this was. So that particular day, like, all these attorneys had, like, stuck around and waited, like, until, like, basically sat there through the whole deal so that they could kind of see how this thing went, because apparently it was, like, something that was just not very common. And of course I got on the stand, and like, going back to the whole being perceived as, like, women especially, I mean, I think everybody, but women especially, we tend to come off as bitchy or threatening, or, just, I mean, I can't think of another word besides bitch. Like, it really just, it is a perfect illustration, like, that's the perfect word, I guess. I'm not making words right now, but, like, they actually had a victim's advocate. It was a lady from the DA's office, and her job was, she was there for the victims, sort of for support for them. And I see now why, because I was treated like I was treated like I was on trial. I was treated like a piece of shit. I was. I mean, and it wasn't right, and I didn't have to testify. That I didn't have to go to that. And I went to my like I say, like, I guess it really more of like friends of friends than past, but I mean, he was a pastor and his wife that we knew very well. The night before I went there and talked to him because I didn't know what to do. And, so like all that to say, like I wasn't just chomping at the bit to go send this dude, like, oh, lock him up. Like, no, it wasn't like that at all. I was scared and just still very confused about everything. And I honestly did not think that he really did it. Not because I'm some like battered woman, but because I'm not. I was, I was, but that's how I know like how these things go. And first of all, this man's smart enough to know if he wanted me dead, and that was the thing, and I told him that. Fast forward to the grand jury trial, which happened to be 11 men jurors and 1 female, ironically. So that was, it was crazy. Like, it was crazy. But, I said, he's almost killed me with his bare hands on multiple occasions. Like, for sure. But that's not why we're here. We're not here. He is not on trial right now for any of those times. As a matter of fact, the cops came out many of those times anyway, and hung out with him, and one time they even told me, after telling me they were gonna, anyway, I'm not gonna go into all that because I'm already feeling myself like, ugh. But they said, we know that's the old, you're the blood all over your face. We know that either you did that or it's an old scar or scab or something, like you're not fooling us type deal, so it was like, but anyway, so when I testified at the grand jury trial, that's what I told him. I was like, he's almost killed me with his bare hands several times, but like that, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you things that are gonna convince you. Like, I'm gonna answer questions related to the evidence or like the situation as it is. And I'm going to give you the facts that in a way that I think they should be. I think that, for one thing, I think that justice, even in the judicial system, I know that it's not God, and I know that it's men that run things, but they are biblically they are supposed to be God appointed. And, that is the goal, or, like the primary objective is supposed to be like justice, and fairness, and so like I knew that I had not I hadn't caught a break. It was unbelievable how horribly I was treated. And when I say like people, places, in like, what is it, like organizations, like what is the thing in the 12 steps when they're like people, like groups or, just like whatever. Anyway, the point that I'm making is that I was let down by everyone that, pastors of churches, therapists and, marriage counselors and school, principals and, law enforcement and, family and, everybody, and it wasn't in a way that was just like, we don't see you, we don't hear you, go away. It was like, it was almost like being taunted, and I say that, but I'm going to tell you, like, I'll tell you, I know what it was. This is how you know when you're dealing with someone or when there's like a power that be, however you want to say it, when there's something like that, that is driving these things, that is, controlling how these things go. It seems like you're being taunted, but it's not. It's people genuinely mean it when they say, oh my God, like, are you okay? Listen, don't worry. Like, we're going to take care of this. Like, this is not okay. Give me just a second. I'm about to go make a call. Like, we're going to get this taken care of, go to the school to pick up my children when my ex-husband is in jail for the day that I found, like, I woke up that morning and went to the police station to get my victim's packet. that was given to me, like, you know, like as a condolence, like as a, what is it called? Like a, consolation prize, you know, like that was my like party favor for my whole like murder, you know, involvement. It was like, yay. Well, also the gift of life, which it's not funny, but anyway. But yeah, so like that same day I go to get my kids from school and I walk in at the same time as a deputy, like a sheriff's deputy who's like, clearly they're waiting on me, you know? Like, you ain't going nowhere near your kids, you know? And I'm like, well, okay, because like I was here yesterday for a field trip, you know, like I'm the class mom, like I did, you know, like I'm a stay-at-home mom, like this, like I teach Pilates to the principal and all of the, you know, like, not like, do you know who I am? But like, really, do you know who I am? Like, I'm their mother. Like, what? Ma'am, if you do not get off this, if you do not get within 1,000, you know, if you get within 1,000 feet of this school again, like if you don't vacate the premises immediately and stay within, you know, more than 1,000 feet from this location, you're going to jail and I'm taking you there. Do you understand, Miss Wilson? And I'll tell you, find me someone, find me a mother that would say, officer, I apologize. Do you mind if, do you have any paperwork maybe that you could present, that you could kind of show me like what's this all about? They have one with the hotline and everything. If you want one, go to the clerk of court and the but right now, I need you to get off this property like immediately. And I look over and my mother-in-law is in line at carpool, which doesn't start for like 2 hours. And she's just sitting there in the parking lot with the window rolled down, just sitting there, you know, just watching. I'm gone, you know, calm as a bomb, as James used to say. And it was everywhere I went. It was every time. It was, you know, after losing everything, our home in particular, I get a call from, you know, at the time a friend, you know, hey, I got some great news for you. The local church, you know, one of the, I don't know, whatever Baptist or something, I spoke to them kind of about what's going on. Let me tell you what they're going to do for you. They had a 3-bedroom apartment above like the, you know, like one of like the annex building or whatever on the, you know, like at the church, 3-bedroom furnished apartment, fully stocked, washer and dryer, dishes, furniture, groceries, everything. That's vacant for the next, I think it was 3 or 4 months. And, you and your kids can live there. You know, y'all can live there. And, you know, this was in like, I think August maybe. And it was going to be available until January. And, I still had my car at the time, luckily. And so, I mean, really, I had actually, if I hadn't got the job yet, it was in that same time frame. Like I was, you know, I'd worked for Honda in the past and I was actually going to like their sister to Toyota, which was even closer to, you know, to us, 3 to 4 months. I mean, that's, you know, that's plenty of time. I mean, I say plenty of time. I mean, like that's very feasible to live for free. I mean, and I'm talking, yeah, like groceries and everything, no bills, you know, live there for free and work and get on my feet, you know, because I was a stay-at-home mom. I'd been a stay-at-home mom for several years, you know. And so I went and talked to him, you know, and I told him, I said, I need for you to understand though, that like, cause the situation was already, I mean, like I said, like we had all these things. I mean, he was I was staying in hotels, and he was getting banned from hotels. He was getting arrested in front. It was something, when I say it was something every night, once a day or that night. And there was not a complete day that would go by. When I say something happened, I'm talking like I'm talking like explosions, or cops, like he would like, one time he let the air out of the tires. One time he just slashed them and called the cops on me, paid the maintenance guy at the hotel $100 to tell him what room I was in. Like, he got like arrested in front of the kids' school for like, it was like a terrorist threat level, like code red type situation, apparently. Like, where they had him down, like, which, and I would even say, like, as awful as he was to me, that had to have been I can't even imagine how traumatizing that must have been for him. Like, and I don't know if the kids, I don't know, that had to have been horrible, So granted, I don't think that he had a fun time during this period. But I could never anyway, I'm not even going to go into that right now. But the point is that, it got to where I didn't have anywhere to go, or if I did, I did not want to go there, because it was a bridge that was going to get burned almost immediately, because he was tracking everything. It was a nightmare. It was honestly a nightmare. And so of course now, and it seems like that's something that if they were offering this to me, it seems like it's something that's not totally foreign to them, like maybe they would actually be good to help in a situation like this. But I wanted to make sure they were aware of that situation, like how I'm going to start a new video.